The Chase, sponsored by Anadin.
Coming up, the mother angry after her son's headstone was removed without permission. Details next.
4 and Sunday at 3 on ITV.
Now the latest from ITV News Central in the Midlands.
Hello, welcome to ITV News Central. On the programme tonight, the mother angry after the headstone on her son's grave was removed.
For it to just be whipped off without any knowing, just find it heartbreaking.
Gadget free, could you ditch smartphones and tablets for a day?
The nationwide search to rehome a terrier with his own guide dog.
And the stars preparing for perhaps the biggest pantomime in the world, and it's coming here.
Good evening. A council has been called heartless after it ordered the star-shaped headstone of a little boy to be removed from a cemetery just days after the child's family had it placed there.
Thousands of people from across the Midlands and even abroad have signed an online petition to get the headstone reinstated. Jo Corbett placed it on the grave on what would have been her son's 7th birthday, but Malvern Town Council says it's not in keeping with the grounds, as Gail Mellors reports.
Max was a beautiful boy. He had a traumatic life, really. He was in that hospital all his little life. He was a survivor. He had a great smile. He was a fighter right to the end.
For 5 short years, Max Corbett faced severe epilepsy and dystonia with courage and a spirit his mother and older sister and younger brother will remember forever. On what would have been his 7th birthday last month, in tribute to his courage, his family commissioned a star-shaped headstone for his grave. But just 3 days later, the stonemason who designed it was given just hours to remove it or have the council take it away.
Having this headstone put on was the final piece of the puzzle. Something that I didn't want to have to do. But I wanted a nice monument for him. You know, something that was suitable for Max, that reflected his life. He was a beautiful little boy. And then for it to just be whipped off without any knowing, or the council not even telling me, just find it heartbreaking. And even to this day, they still haven't written to me.
Max's family continue to visit his grave every day at Great Malvern Cemetery. They had asked for him to be buried there amongst other relatives in a lawned area of the cemetery, unaware that a specially designed children's headstone would not be permitted there.
The stonemason has been fitting headstones in the cemetery for over a decade, nearly 30 years. He's never had a headstone removed. He's never had one rejected. There is nothing in the rules and regulations to say a child memorial stone is not allowed.
Now 17,000 people have signed an online petition supporting Jo's campaign to get the headstone reinstated. Many have even emailed the council to complain. In a statement, Malvern Town Council says it has complete and total sympathy for the situation Miss Corbett finds herself. It explained that the lawn area of the cemetery, in accordance with cemetery rules, does not permit the same design of headstones allowed within the children's section, and added it's now willing to work with the family to resolve the matter. But in the meantime, Max's family say the situation has made losing him so much harder to bear. Gail Mellors, ITV News, Malvern.
A campaign raising money for a family of 5 hit by a car in Birmingham has reached its halfway target. Lily Wu, who was 6, and her 7-year-old sister Shelley died after the crash on Grove Road in Handsworth on Sunday. Their mother and older brother and sister are still in hospital. Members of the public have donated nearly £5,500 through an online fundraising page.
A father and two sons have appeared in court charged with the murders of 3 people in a house fire in Derbyshire. Amy Smith, her 6-month-old daughter Ruby Grace and Amy's friend Ed Green died at Langley Mill on Sunday. Today, Anthony and Simon Eyre, aged 21 and 24, appeared at Chesterfield Magistrates Court along with their father Peter Eyre, who's 43. They were remanded into custody and will appear at Crown Court on Monday.
The findings of an inquest into the deaths of 3 Army reservists who collapsed during an SAS selection exercise will be made in 3 weeks.
The men died 2 years ago after suffering heat exhaustion in the Brecon Beacons in South Wales. They'd been training to get into the SAS, which is based in Hereford. Rajiv Popat reports on some of the key moments of the 20-day hearing.
This is where the 3 Army reservists had been training on one of the hottest days of the year in July 2013. They'd been on an SAS selection exercise, but during the 16-mile trek in the Brecon Beacons, Lance Corporals Edward Mayer, Craig Roberts and Corporal James Dunsby collapsed and later died from heat exhaustion. For the last 4 weeks, their families have sat through an inquest into their deaths. They heard from a soldier known as Soldier 1B who assessed potential SAS candidates. He said the training prior to the test may not have been good enough and that one of the key factors would have been their determination and willpower. He added he was unaware of an official MOD risk assessment which gives guidance on control measures in relation to heat illness. And an SAS officer who was in charge of the march said he was unaware of the weather forecast and didn't recall discussing the heat with his unit. During the hearing, the mother of Lance Corporal Craig Roberts questioned why her son was sent up there in the heat. A senior army medic known as 1U, who treated some of the casualties, said there were not enough medics to help. Keith Morton QC, representing the father of James Dunsby, asked 1U, "Did you consider there were any deficiencies in the medical planning that contributed to the casualties?" He replied, "Yes, there were not enough medics." Craig Roberts' family said the training in the sweltering heat wasn't cancelled to save on paperwork. Relatives spoke about the soldiers' desire to serve with the best of the best. On July the 14th, they will hear the findings of the inquest. Rajiv Popat, ITV News.
Employees being made redundant at Goodyear in Wolverhampton are to get support from the council to help them find new jobs in the city. More than 300 workers are losing their jobs after the firm announced it was closing its plant after 88 years. The firm has blamed a downturn in demand in Europe. Emergency meetings were held at the council this morning about the planned closure. The first jobs are expected to go in October.
Meanwhile, plans for a massive distribution centre creating 500 jobs in Wednesbury have been approved. The planned unit is the size of 6 professional football pitches and will be built next to Bescot Park Railway Depot by Junction 9 of the M6. It'll become the Midlands hub for the supermarket chain Lidl. Sandwell Council says it'll work closely with the company to secure the jobs for local people.
Birmingham's iconic fountain, known as the Floozy in the Jacuzzi, is being filled with flowers. It was built in 1993 at a cost of £3.5 million. In 2010, £300,000 was spent fixing leaking pipes and installing new coloured lighting. But 3 years later, the landmark was turned off again. The council says the flowers are a temporary measure until more work can be done to find out what's wrong.
It's likely to cost somewhere in the region of £35,000 to carry out this feasibility study, and we want to make sure that we spend that money wisely. It's several leaks, and that's why there have been several attempts at repairing them. None have been successful because it's more than one leak. We'd anticipate that by next summer we'd have the fountain back in working order.
You're watching ITV News Central. Still to come on the programme.
Talking about this Christmas's upcoming panto at the Barclaycard National Indoor Place Arena type thing will be me, Paul O'Grady.
And me, Bradley Walsh. You're awful good at this, you know.
Thanks.
You really are. We should roll off the top.
And the campaign to get people off their gadgets and talking again. Now, on to the story of a blind dog and his very own guide dog. Glenn and Buzz are inseparable and they're now on the lookout for a new home together.
Oh, well, the pair were sadly found abandoned 3 weeks ago, but thanks to some celebrity campaign support along the way, offers are now flooding in from across the Midlands and indeed the whole country to keep them together in a new home. Here's Katie Oakes.
Wherever Buzz goes, Glenn goes too. The Jack Russell is permanently blind, but he gets by with a little help from his friend, a Staffordshire Bull Terrier who acts as his guide dog.
They're just two dogs that love each other. They're picked up as strays together, and since arriving here they've just wanted to be together, so we let them. And Buzz just sort of looks after Glenn. Glenn sticks to him like glue.
The inseparable pair were found abandoned in a sea tunnel 3 weeks ago. Staff at the rescue centre think the dogs are aged around 9 or 10 and could have been together for years. Buzz acts as Glenn's eyes. He leads the way around the rescue centre, out on long walks, and helps him find food. The story of their unusual friendship has now gone worldwide, with offers to rehome them from as far afield as America and Vietnam. And they've even had celebrity support. Cheryl Fernandez-Versini shared their photo on Instagram, writing, "If anyone knows of a loving home who have the space and time to take them on, please help."
There has been a lot of people interested in adopting them. Hope they find a lovely home together where they just sort of retire and be happy.
Potential owners from all over the country will meet the dogs next week before the rescue centre decides the best place for Glenn and Buzz to enjoy their retirement together. Katie Oakes, ITV News.
All right, it's already one of my favourite stories of the year. What does that say about me?
You're a dog lover?
I'm a soft touch, that's what I am. I'm all heart. Right, smartphones, iPads, laptops, games consoles. Many of our homes have been taken over by our devices, but can you imagine living without them? That's what we're being encouraged to do this Sunday for National Unplugging Day.
The campaign has been set up to encourage families to spend more time together, talking. It comes as new research shows parents are often just as bad as their children for letting technology take over their lives. Lauren Hall reports.
Hello, Debbie Bird. This mum of two says she couldn't be without her smartphone.
Yeah, there won't be a problem.
She loves technology, and so do her children.
It's very hard to say, do as I say, not as I do. And they're very quick to say back to you, well, you're doing it. And you are setting an example, and there is a time when you think, actually, am I spending more time looking at the screen of my phone than actually paying attention to my child? And you know, I think it's easily done and you easily get caught in that trap.
A recent survey of parents found they're using their phones on average 240 times a day. That adds up to around 4 hours. Nearly half admit to checking their phones before they even get out of bed. If that's the example being set by the grown-ups, you can probably guess what these teenagers said when we asked them if they could live without technology.
No, definitely not. It's just our whole lives depend on it now, so...
Yes, because we've grown up with this generation, I guess. So we've learned how to use it, we've grown up with it, so we couldn't really learn to live without it.
Here's someone else who's been busy using technology. Gemma Johnson is behind an online campaign, National Unplugging Day. This Sunday, she's encouraging families to stop using phones and other devices so they can spend some quality time together.
My message to parents would be, your children are learning from you. So if you take your technology into the bedroom, they will think that's acceptable. If you use your technology when your children are talking to you and you don't look them in the eye, they think not having eye-to-eye contact is acceptable. So it's just such an important thing that we teach our children, which is basically social etiquette and mastering our digital usage so that our children do not grow up to be technology addicts.
Debbie and her children will be taking part this weekend. They've promised to ditch their devices and give up their gadgets to make the most of family life. Lauren Hall, ITV News.
Now, I've got somebody with me right this second who literally can't cope without her phone. Well, you've got one phone? You've just got one phone.
It's not here with me. I'm not allowed it down here.
But you've got all the social media on it. Although, Facebook, I think we can say it, you've removed it from your phone. Why did you do that?
Well, I think, you know, it's fine to have access to social media at some times, but if you've got it all with you all the time, you just find yourself on it. Just, you know, when you're shopping in the supermarket, just have a quick look on. You don't need that.
Or you're sitting with a friend. That's the worst thing. Exactly. If you're sitting with a friend
in a restaurant. Have you seen that? Two people having a meal in a restaurant, both sat on Facebook. On
you've seen me having a meal. That's
nice.
I've
seen it.
Listen, we've also been getting feedback from you to see if you could cope without your phones and whatever else. And funnily enough, we got that feedback through social media. Nicola Lou from Walsall says she used to spend every minute with her young son, but now finds herself checking her text messages instead. She thinks her life would be better without a mobile phone. Yes, and Scott Bridgewater disagrees. He thinks there's nothing wrong with embracing technology as long as you don't let it rule your life. He reckons he'd be lost without his. And Sarah Thompson says she would feel lonely without hers. It's how she communicates every day with her friends. And there is a lot to be said for that, keeping you connected with the world. Thank you to everyone who got in touch. Indeed. Now, next tonight, a man on a mission. Former Wolverhampton Wanderers midfielder Jeff Thomas is used to tackling challenges in his football boots, but he's now swapped those for two wheels. Yes, the former footballer has 1 week to go until he tries to cycle the entire route of the Tour de France. That's 3,360 kilometres. He's doing it to raise money for Cure Leukemia after being diagnosed with the illness in 2003. Well, he's been busy training for this latest challenge, but I am glad to say he's jumped out of the saddle and joins us now. Jeff, really good to see you. I have to say you're looking sickeningly fit, but are you ready for this one?
I'm not sure you're ever ready, but it's coming up very quickly, so next week I've got to be ready.
You certainly have. Now, you've had some good preparation because you've only just finished the last challenge, which we covered here. Was your ride from London to Paris. And there was also that lovely moment when you finished it with your daughters and your wife. How did that feel? How was that experience for you?
It was really, really special. I mean, everybody who saved my life really was there. You know, Professor Charlie Craddock from the QE was there. My sister who actually gave me the stem cell transplant. And more importantly, my wife who was like a rock. And my two daughters actually took part in this event. You know, along with over 200 people raising an awful lot of money for the cause.
Jeff, cycling alongside you on this next challenge is a controversial figure, Lance Armstrong. How do you feel about the fact that he's agreed to take part in this challenge with you, and what might be quite a difficult thing for him to be back in France at this time?
Yeah, well, that was my decision. I mean, I've involved people over the last 10 years who have got me to this position. And Lance was one of those people. Right at the start, he was an inspiration, a spark of being positive, you know, and he was to millions back then. I know on the bike he's done wrong, and that's a different issue for me. You know, he's a cancer survivor and he's raised $500 million for that community, and that's all he wants to get back to. And that's, you know, hopefully this is his first step to that, but more importantly, he's raising a lot of awareness for Cure Leukemia and the cause, and hopefully on the back of that raising an awful lot of money.
Just putting to one side the controversy surrounding him, I mean, how does it feel for you to be riding alongside Lance Armstrong?
I'm not sure how long I'll be riding alongside him. My skinny legs aren't that quick, so I might be just seeing him at the start and the finish. But no, joking apart, it's, we took the team out to Aspen a couple of weeks ago, and they, like a lot of people, were sceptical about his inclusion. And after just 2 days with him, they just saw he was a normal man, and he wants to help, and that's it. That's how it's going to turn around, hopefully, for a lot of people out there.
I imagine having him on board now, though, that's probably raised the profile of the work you're doing quite considerably, hasn't it?
It has. I mean, it's gone to Australia, New Zealand. People are asking us, are we going to do the ride again next year? Which we are. And, you know, his things, America has obviously picked up on it. And France, like you say, we finished in Paris this weekend, and we had French media waiting for us to talk about what's going up over the next 3 weeks.
Okay, Jeff, well, thank you very much, and good luck. I know you'll nail it, no problem, but best of luck from all of us here.
Yeah, good luck, Jeff.
Thank you very much. Cheers, thank you.
84 days and counting to the Rugby World Cup. The ticket design was unveiled today, and the former England and Leicester Tiger star Martin Johnson is one of 5 players to feature on them.
The 2003 England World Cup winning captain was at today's ticket launch at Twickenham. They'll be issued to lucky fans next month, and they're being promised a bit of a high-tech experience to help bring the Rugby World Cup to life, as their tickets will have unique activations as part of the design. South Africa and Australia are in action at Villa Park during the tournament.
Leicester's a big rugby city anyway, with the club there, but also, yeah, the opportunity for people, to take your kids to go and watch a game. I'll take mine there. Just to say, we saw a World Cup game when it came to England in 2015, a bit like the Olympics. If you couldn't get the ticket you maybe really wanted, and you certainly go and watch a game, and I wanted to say, I went to watch the 2012 Olympics, so it's the same with this. When I watched the 2015 World Cup, and there is some great games, for the Midlands at Villa Park as well. So I'm going to go there as well and watch one.
It really is a chance to try and be a part of something. You mentioned the Olympics, and whoa, I think a lot of people before it weren't that fussed. When it happened, everyone wanted to be there. I've got a feeling it'll be similar, with the rugby.
And it's a really exciting time for sport at the moment. Tour de France on the way,
Yeah,
Wimbledon, British Grand Prix, loads of stuff happening. And the weather's picking up as well, so that's good. Now, if you were watching yesterday, you'll know we were marking 6 months until Christmas by talking about Christmas toys. And today we are still, unfortunately, a bit prematurely festive.
Yes, I've been to the launch of what's being billed as the biggest pantomime in the world. I spoke to all the big stars, which include Bradley Walsh and Paul O'Grady, who I asked, well, what attracted them to this particular show?
Well, for me, I'm not usually the villain in panto, so I've never been good before. So I'm going to have to polish up my fairy godfather act. But it's great, and it's a short run, because I said I'd never do panto again, because I was just saying to Bradley, in February, you stood there in the wings dressed as the Wicked Queen, and you're getting texts off friends saying, the sun's lovely here in Barbados or Spain, and you go, thanks. It's even worse when your agent does it, isn't it? You're killing yourself, and they're swanning themselves on the cruise, and you think, so it's lovely, it's a short run, it's fabulous.
Bit of pressure though, Bradley, such a big venue.
Well, you know what? The fact that Dick and Dom are alongside us, Paul, we've got a cast of around about 100 gospel singers, Bollywood dancers, the lot. It is the world's biggest panto, and that's what attracted me to the show as well, and Paul.
It's going to be great fun. I think we're going to learn a lot. We've been working on TV for about nearly 20 years now.
But these boys are old school. They've seen it and done it.
Yeah, so we're going to learn a lot.
Have you done panto before?
We've done it separately, but never together. Oh, really? This is the first time you will see Dick and Dom.
I assumed you were like Ant and Dec, and you could never be separated.
We did
many years ago
before we became Dick and Dom.
Right.
So when we were Richard McCourt and Dominic, we were separate presenters. So we'd done a few things together, but then we'd done it separately. But then we've never done it together. So we thought, what should be our first one? Let's go out in front of 4,000 people a night in an arena with Paul O'Grady, Bradley Walsh, and do the biggest pantomime ever.
Why not?
Hang on. No, hang on. Who is that? Is that your agent? Your agent's on the telly. It's your agent now.
I've just turned this off.
It's your agent.
Something? Bring back the Nokia. I hate these things. I can't get a reception. I can't get anything. I can play Angry Birds, but oh no, I can't get a reception.
It's your agent saying, "What do you mean you're not on in February?"
Have I got news for you? Yeah.
I've worked with Bradley before, so I know what he's like. That's going to be wonderful. And I haven't worked with all the others before, but I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a big deal.
Have you ever done shows in Birmingham before?
I have loads.
What do you find the crowd like?
Oh, great. Well, I used to do the clubs here. I mean, older viewers will remember the Jug and the Nightingale. I used to do, the Nightingale's still going. I used to do them regularly once a month. We're going back to the 80s, and then of course I did all the theatres with Annie. Prisoner of Cell Blockage, the musical. My own stand-up tours as Lily Savage, so I'm no stranger to Birmingham.
You present The Chase from 5 to 6 on ITV. Your show's been obviously a massive success on ITV, which technically makes both of you warm-up acts for ITV Central, because we follow at 6.
We do shift work.
Yes, we're on. That's our shift. That's our shift, and we're thrilled that we bring you a good inheritance. That's what it's all about.
We warm it up for you nicely.
It's true, that. It's probably true, yeah.
Well,
so you're on straight after us, are you?
And we actually, I shouldn't say this, I shouldn't admit this, but when I'm presenting the show, we quite often have your show on in the studio, so it literally is a warm-up. You get a bit of a buzz off you guys.
Because he said that to me up in London.
He looks so much younger than us. That's the
Yeah,
shame,
I
mate.
know, it's sinful. Don't. There's a filter on that lens.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. I can't believe they didn't send me to go and do that. How did you get that job?
Well, you know, they've got to send the talent where the talent's got to go. Do you know what I mean? But they are. I think it's quite nice to say that they are our warm-up.
I'm going to let that one go.
Yeah, you're gonna let
I'll
it
be
go.
honest, I'm going to let that one go. Yeah.
Well, you are while we're on air. Come 6:30, believe me, a different story. But yeah, what a great bunch. I mean, we could have, like so many of these interviews, we could have put a lot more of that on because they are so funny. Paul O'Grady's just so natural. And Bradley, they bounce off together. Dick and Dom, they're children's presenters. If you don't know who they are, they're big with the kids, those guys. Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot more of it will be on the website.
Yeah, and that brilliant woman, Hannah, who's playing Cinderella, she's going to be terrific. So anyway, that's it. It's not Christmas yet, so let's get the forecast. Here's Amanda Houston.
Hello again. Well, if you like the heat, temperatures are set to soar as we go into next week. But in the short term, it will be feeling more comfortable out there. So a quick look ahead to the weekend. Well, some warm sunshine across the region tomorrow. Some outbreaks of rain on Sunday and a slightly fresher feel to the day. Make the most of it, though, as it is going to be hotting up as we go into the new week. So today we had a cold front that was tracking its way across the country. It was moving from west to east. It brought in quite a bit of cloud and a few showers. And you can see behind it's a much clearer sky, so a bit of sunshine to end the day. Then throughout tonight, it's a mixture of some patchy cloud and clear breaks. Temperatures there between 11 and 13 degrees, so not quite as stuffy as recent nights. So tomorrow for most of us, we'll get off to a decent start. Quite a bit of sunshine around to begin with, but the cloud is going to bubble up. Now, all that's really going to do is make the sunshine hazy. For most of us, it's going to be a fine and dry day. We've got gentle westerly winds and highs of 20, perhaps 21 degrees. That's 70 in Fahrenheit. And then if you're after some rainfall for the gardens, well, there is a chance you will see some on Sunday, and it will be feeling slightly fresher out there too. And then Monday, things improving, so largely dry and bright, top temperature of 20 degrees. Then Tuesday, that is one to watch. Plenty of sunshine will be coming our way and some very warm, in fact hot air, highs possible of 27 degrees.
How are you today?
Lloyds Pharmacy, proud sponsors of the Pollen Count.
So over the next 24 hours, the pollen count is remaining very high in our region, but with some rainfall coming on Sunday, it's going to drop back down to moderate, but it is going back up to very high from Monday onwards. Bye-bye.
Warming up nicely then. Right, time for a reminder of tonight's top stories on ITV News Central. Thousands of people have signed a petition to reinstate the headstone of a 4-year-old boy that was removed by a council. Jo Corbett placed it on her son's grave in Malvern on what would have been his 7th birthday. But Malvern Town Council says it's not in keeping with the grounds.
The findings of an inquest into the deaths of 3 Army reservists who collapsed during an SAS training exercise will be made in 3 weeks. The men died 2 years ago during training to get into the SAS, which is based in Hereford.
And Birmingham's iconic fountain, known as the Floozy in the Jacuzzi, is being filled with flowers. The council say they will only be there until work can be done to find out what's wrong with the water system.
The national and international news continues next, and we'll be back at 10:30 tonight with the late news as well. But from everyone here today, enjoy your Friday evening.
And
Bye-bye
have
for
a
now.
great weekend. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
The BT Price Drop brings you an earth-shattering offer for a limited time only on super reliable, super fast fibre optic broadband. Get BT Infinity and unlimited UK weekend calls for £10 a month. That's over 20% off, and it's just a 12-month contract. And BT Infinity is up to 5 times faster than the average speed of standard UK broadband. Don't miss the BT Price Drop offer. Switch to BT today. Call 0800 028 0048 or visit bt.com/drop.
The DFS June price snap with at least 50% off sofas ends Monday. The Angelic is just $399. All these sofas are handmade to order and can be in your home in 28 days, and all come with 4 years interest-free credit. Better be quick, the DFS June price snap ends Monday.
Stars shining bright above you. Night breezes seem to whisper, I love you. Birds singing in the sycamore tree. Dream a little dream of me.
We get to know you personally to tailor the holiday of your dreams. We are travel counsellors. Find yours at travelcounsellors.com.
British tourists are among 37 people killed on a beach in Tunisia. Sunbathers and children fled in terror as gunmen opened fire in the resort of Sousse.
The gunman was 100 metres from us and he dropped an umbrella, then started shooting around.
Also tonight, France goes on full terror alert after a man is beheaded at a factory near Lyon.
The Queen pays her respects to the 70,000 who died at Belsen concentration camp.
And President Obama says love wins as gay marriage is legalized across America.
This is ITV News at 6:30 with Charlene White and James Mates.
Good evening. It's been confirmed that Britons are among 37 people killed in a terrorist attack on a tourist beach in Tunisia. As the gunmen opened fire, holidaymakers ran for their lives, many barricading themselves in their rooms. Some never had a chance, shot dead on their sunbeds.
One gunman has also been killed. The attack happened in Sousse, one of the country's most popular resorts. The gunman opened fire on the beach between the Saviva and Imperial Mahaba hotels around lunchtime. Paul Davis has the latest.
It was the day the fanatics brought their twisted view of the world to the beach. In the chaotic aftermath of the slaughter, a female tourist, wounded but still alive, is carried towards medical attention. But on the sand, covered in towels, the bodies of those not so fortunate. Witnesses say the gunman walked through the sunshades, killing indiscriminately. British, Irish, German and Belgian holidaymakers shot where they were sunbathing. These two young women from Yorkshire saw a man who'd been posing as a tourist draw his gun.
The gunman was 100 metres from us and he dropped an umbrella, then started shooting around. We realised that it was a gun. I stand up, shouted, gun, run. Everybody didn't believe me, thought it was fireworks at first, and once they realised people screaming, everybody scarpered, people falling on the floor, people trampling all over them.
The girls fled to their hotel, but the killer followed them.
He comes into our hotel, has a gun, starts firing it downstairs. We all scarper into rooms, hiding in anywhere possible. It's just not safe here. There's police everywhere, left, right and centre, that they've caught somebody. We have no information, nobody's giving us anything about flights. We want to go home.
We just know that the beach is on lockdown, the streets are on lockdown, there's police everywhere. The people are back by the pool, and we've been told that it's safe to go, but we're just waiting in reception.
One gunman was shot dead, this second man arrested and subjected to the anger of the crowd. On a day when France and Kuwait have also suffered terrorist attacks, the Prime Minister called for a united response.
The people who do these things, they sometimes claim they do it in the name of Islam. They don't. Islam is a religion of peace. They do it in the name of technology that we have to confront with everything that we have.
For so long, the success story of the Arab Spring, Tunisia relies heavily on the tourist trade. These images will do irreparable harm. 2 deadly attacks in 3 months suggest the extremists have identified a soft target and a way to impose their hardline views on the majority that democratically rejected them. Paul Davis, ITV News.
A British crisis team is heading to the resort from the capital, Tunis, to help any Britons caught up in the attack. Here, Foreign Secretary Philip Hammond